Welcome to the first ever Columbia University School of Professional Studies and the United Nations International Computing Center's joint Think-a-Thon, the final competition. My name is Kelly Ahn. I'm the Associate Dean of the Career Design Lab at the Columbia University School of Professional Studies. The UNICC and SPS have collaborated to invite students, alumni, and innovators all together at this competition to make an impact to accelerate the UN's Sustainable Development Goals and also to confront some of the largest and most great challenges that we are facing in our lifetime. After a very careful submission review from multiple teams, we now have 7 final teams who were selected to compete at today's final competition. These final teams have been working all through the summer with their mentors from the UN, UNDP, UN Women, UNICC, and also Columbia SPS faculty. And we're really, really excited to hear their proposals today. We cannot thank enough all the judges, mentors, administrators, our partners, especially Anusha from UNICC, whom I'm going to introduce very shortly, for their incredible support to make this event a reality. So before we hear from the teams, I want to welcome and introduce our amazing partner in co-creating this event. Her name is Anusha Dandapani. She is the Chief Data and Analytics Service Officer at the UNICC. So I hand it over to you, Anusha.
Thank you, Kelly. Good morning, everybody. My name is Anusha Dandapani. I lead the data and analytics services at UNICC. So UNICC is the core shared service provider for United Nations system, and we provide cost-effective and audit-compliant, high-value digital business solutions. The thought process that we had is that, do you want to shape our inclusive digital future by building a technical sort of solution? And we envisioned for today 3 challenges with inclusion, collaboration, and inspiration as the core of our thought process. So this Think-a-Thon is a great opportunity to make sure your voice is heard, and to our audience, your opinion matters. Yeah, so we need your input to help shape our future society. So all feedback is welcome. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much, Anusha. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. It has been an amazing time putting this event together, as Kelly said, with all of our collaborators. So thank you to everyone across SPS, the UN, the UNDP, UN Women, and of course the amazing CDL team and the interns who help bring this event to life. My name is Nicole Arndt. I'm an associate director at the Career Design Lab. And it has truly been a privilege to work with so many people who are so passionate and driven to make a positive global impact and accelerate progress to the Sustainable Development Goals, which are goals adopted by the United Nations in 2015 as a universal call to action to protect the planet, eradicate poverty, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. So I am so proud of all of the teams and participants that we're going to be hearing from today who stepped up to this call to action. I will be moderating part of this event with some of my colleagues from the Career Design Lab. And before we get started, I want to share some of the challenge rules. The teams were asked to present or to propose solutions to one of 3 Sustainable Development Goal challenge categories. These are disaster preparedness, gender equality, and cybersecurity. So today, the top 7 final teams will present their proposed solutions in their chosen category, addressing one of these 3. The teams have received guidance and coaching from their esteemed mentors, who are also here today to present and introduce each team. And these were UN mentors from the UNICC, UNDP, UN Women, and of course, Columbia SPS faculty. So the structure for today, each team is going to have 5 minutes to present, followed by 2 minutes Q&A from the judges. We will give the team a warning at 30 seconds when they have 30 seconds remaining with the bell, and then again at 5 minutes. And then we'll stop the presentation abruptly. Teams were asked to present a maximum of 3 slides, static slides, so no images or music or video to communicate their idea. The teams will be presenting to a panel of judges who are joining us today. A panel of 5 judges will carefully evaluate each team's solution using the evaluation criteria you see here. After all the teams present, we will dismiss the judges for a bit to go into their deliberation room. And while we do that, we will invite the audience, all of you, while the judges are deliberating, to identify the first and second place teams. We ask the audience to weigh in and take part in the Zoom poll to select their favorite team, the audience choice, who will win a $1,000 prize money. And all of this will be announced at the award ceremony that will conclude this event. So we are extremely excited. I know that the teams have put in so much work, and I can't wait to hear what they have in store for us. I will turn it over to my colleague, Paul Maniaci. He's the Assistant Director at CDL, to introduce the amazing mentors and judges with us.
Thanks, Nicole. So I wanted to take a moment and just spotlight the judges who are going to be evaluating the proposals and the presentations today. So we have Rodrigo Prado, co-founder and managing partner at Primus AI. We have Ursula Wenhoven, ITU representative to the United Nations, New York. We have Reda Sadki, president of the Geneva Learning Foundation. We have Pavan Pidugu, chief technology officer at FMCSA, US Department of Transportation. And we have Frederica Schur, fellow in data and digital governance at UN Global Pulse, Jane Family Institute. And we're very grateful that they have taken time out of their busy schedules to judge today's competition. So I just wanted to introduce the various mentors that assisted our teams, that helped prepare them and coach them to be their best selves today as they are presenting. And the mentors will be introduced by challenges. So the first challenge that we have is disaster preparedness. And I would like to thank Shuriya Sarkar, Information Management Senior Specialist at the UNDP, and Jay Kasaban, VP of Analytics Partnerships at Bowery Analytics, for helping mentor the disaster preparedness teams. I'm now going to pass it over to Shuriya, who is going to introduce today's first team, which is Logistica Emergency Response. Over to you, Shuriya.
Thanks so much, Paul. Let me start by saying the team Logistica is made up of a bunch of tech and emergency response professionals, which has Nancy, Drew, Ethan, and Steve. Presenting today are Drew and Ethan, who've spent almost a year deployed on the front lines of COVID-19 responses in various leadership roles. They've helped innovate many disaster response techniques, some recovery assistance teams, and mobile strike teams. Their idea is a really great one to make emergency response so much better than it already is. And I think it's a really great marriage of how technology can, really drive change at the front lines. Also, it affects so many SDGs, but let them tell you better. I also want to take this time to thank UNICC and SPS. It's been an awesome opportunity to work with you as well as with Team Logistica. So Team Logistica, may the force be with you.
Hello and welcome. My name is Drew Downing. And I'm Ethan Downing.
And for those of you playing at home, yes, we're brothers.
And we're going to tell you about the single most revolutionary tool for disaster response.
But before we do that, we want to explain why we're here. During the height of the first wave of COVID-19, we both deployed as disaster responders to manage an alternate care site, like the one at the Javits Center. One day, our logistics chief called us and said, we have a problem. We only have enough PPE to get us through the next 24 hours. Having all this stuff and things in the right place at the right time to run a response is difficult. I've been responding to disasters for over 10 years. I've seen everything from hurricanes to wildfires to disease outbreaks. But the one thing I've never seen is logistics that went smoothly. We realized that something had to change. Our experience in the field told us that whatever the solution was, it had to be simple. Simple to set up, simple to learn, and simple to use.
And that's exactly what we created. Logistica is a rapidly deployable logistics solution for disaster responses. So Logistica uses technology in 3 core areas to improve the value chain. First, it simplifies essential functions, which results in better inventory tracking. Second, it incorporates an intuitive user interface, which makes it easy to learn and easy to use. Lastly, it leverages data for predictive modeling, which makes responses proactive instead of reactive. The outcome is a significant reduction in time spent on repetitive tasks. Logistica is the simplest and most effective logistics tool for disaster responses, and it can be deployed anywhere in the world in about the time it takes to charge your phone. Logistica is adaptable and scalable for any kind of response anywhere in the world, including humanitarian and international development missions, including SDG numbers 2, 3, 5, 10, 11, and 13. If we could get the next slide, please.
Logistica is different from anything else available on the market. Existing software is built for big retail warehouses, so it's too complex and slow during disaster. Many COVID-19 responses simply use spreadsheets to track everything, which were inaccurate and time-consuming. Logistica, on the other hand, is simple to roll out, easy to gather insights, and reduces costs for all parts of the response. Because Logistica will use service as a software model, it's up to 97% cheaper than other systems. A freeware version will be available for low development countries, ensuring accessibility for the global south. The bootstrap startup model will reduce expenses, while our pilot program will ensure revenue to cover fixed operational and variable development costs. There are about 25 public health agencies and healthcare facilities interested in this pilot program that we're launching this fall. Our long-term customer base includes local, federal, and international response agencies, plus private clients. Additionally, funding for disaster preparedness has seen a significant jump recently. Some local counties are receiving a 3,000% funding increase. With Logistica, it couldn't be easier to get started and focus on the mission at hand. It can be used by itself or layered on top of other systems to fill the gap. You can get next slide, please.
We know Logistica works because we deployed prototypes in the field for one of the largest responses in the United States, and the results were pretty incredible. If implemented from day one, Logistica would have saved $1.2 million. Now you might ask, how is that possible? By optimizing one small area of a disaster response, we created a snowball effect that rippled through the system. What used to take 4 to 6 hours to do in the field without Logistica now takes 25 to 45 minutes with Logistica, saving over $6,000 per site each month and nearly $300,000 for the response. Before Logistica, the agency was sending out 9 trucks a week on emergency supply runs, and with Logistica, they send out about 1 truck per week. This 87% in reduction in costs saved over $750,000. We also saved 40% in time for shipping, receiving fulfillment centers, and increased fulfillment rates from about 1/3 to over 80%.
But that's not good enough. We don't just want to fix problems for individual organizations, we want to fix the system. Right now, we often respond in silos. There's no way to share data easily, but what if we could? What if we can leverage all data for a disaster in real time? Instead of being one isolated node responding to a disaster, you're now part of a network global team working to save lives together. That PPE I talked about at the beginning, it wouldn't have been a problem because we would have started with better predictive data, which enables us and our partners to see our blind spots together. Next slide, please.
We have a once in a generation opportunity to change the system. What we put in place today will determine how many lives we save tomorrow. And Logistica is the single easiest change you can make today. Logistica is simple to learn, simple to use, and it saves lives. We'd like to thank Columbia University and the UNICC and Jay and Sharia for their feedback and guidance. Thank you for your time, and please reach out to us if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Ethan and Drew. So now we're going to be entering the question and answer part of the presentation. So I'm going to hand it over to Judge Pavan.
Thank you, Paul. I have a quick question regarding the regulations that are pertaining to data. You mentioned a lot about sharing data. So I'm curious on what various sorts of regulations have you considered and how will you implement them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So looking at federal requirements, you're going to have stuff like FedRAMP and FSMA. A lot of it is detailed out pretty closely for contracts and anything that you need for a federal contract. We've got a developer who's developed a couple of different systems and is aware of a lot of those limitations. A lot of the stuff we're dealing with are stuff and things that don't necessarily have too many restrictions, but we're outlining those as we go along and making sure to be compliant across all shapes and forms for whoever we're working with.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ethan and Drew. We're going to be now moving on to the next team within disaster preparedness. And I would like to bring on Jay to introduce the next team we have, which is Agritech.
Fantastic. Thanks, Paul. So Agritech is in the process of solving a very interesting problem. There's a problem of food loss. Apparently, a third of the food that is transported is lost in contamination, as well as destroyed while transporting from one point to another point. And the team I'm working with here, primarily Dean and Nasri, with advice from Helmut and Chris, has a solution as well as a technology to solve this unique problem. And they have the mechanism to solve how it can be reduce food loss while in transportation. Dean has been working with a technology partner and is the VP of venture financing and emerging technology and a lot of experience in this space. And Nasri has been a project manager with Orange for the last 15 years. And they invested a lot of time into this in the last year. And they have a lot of IP behind this technology. I'm going to hand over to Dean to explain more about their project and their solution.
Thank you for your time today. Yeah, it's a privilege to be participating. Our problem, the issue of food security and that of food loss globally manifests severe consequences for the lives of many, regardless of borders. In relation to contaminated foods, its impact on confidence towards supply chains and that of public health correlating to the notion of food security. 600 million people fall ill and 420,000 die every year after eating contaminated foods. In addition, due to poor nutrition, 5.2 million people lose their lives, of which 3.2 million are children 12 years and under. In a similar vein, a third of total food produced in the world, 1.3 billion tons estimated, is lost annually to spoilage due to a myriad of factors, inclusive of industry inefficiencies holistically. Next slide, please. Our proposed solution tackling these grim overarching realities of a newly developed, sustainable, proprietary ozone-based disinfection system to be installed specifically at onset and early stages with ease, low cost, and operational simplicity at the farm level, most notably commercial food packaging facilities. The system addresses the matter of food loss and food safety by dramatically minimizing the effect of malicious pathogens on all product for all stakeholders within the entire spectrum of the supply chain, while at the same time considerably increasing the shelf life of fresh fruits and vegetables, as well as seafood, meats, and edible grains. Our two unique ozone delivery systems designed and extensively tested or applied in the form of dry or wet methods determined by sensitivity, delicateness, fragility of the treated product. The commercial containers are illustrated at the center of the slide. The real innovation of this technology revolves around the ozone delivery mechanisms using to sanitize dry packed or fresh foods that normally require washing. Ozone itself has been used and it's approved universally as a food sanitizer since 2001. However, Accelerating the ozone through our two distinct and patentable techniques encapsulates the true value proposition. The two techniques were developed as a result of more than 10 years of extensive research into the effectiveness of ozone on fresh foods and killing microbes in every sector of the agri-industrial complex, while not compromising the environment, the health and safety of workers and consumers, all the while being entirely carbon neutral. Next slide.
So thank you, Dean. The total addressable market that we estimate is around $28 billion. This is based on the number of food produced yearly and the number of cases. With our production and our sales force capacity, we estimate that we can reach 15% of market share, which is 4 billion in 5 years. It's worth to note that we will be the first to market with this unique delivery mechanism, inclusive of a recognizable brand. We anticipate direct competition appearing by end of year 2 in relation to our business cycle. Also, our solution is scalable, meaning that it could be used by the largest agri-industrial complexes as well as the smallest farms. It's designed to use solar and wind as a power source, enabling application in remote region of the world. Currently, we have completed all the prototyping phase as well as defining the manufacturing process and are prepared to commercialize today. In addition, our solution is justified by a high ROI for our customers. So in relation to financials, the solution will be entirely self-financing itself after initial capital investment. We will have positive cash flow in year 1, and the estimated gross margin represents 6 to 65% of the projected revenue. Further, it's important to stress the potential of leveraging senior sensor technology, inclusive of ML, propelling dramatic change within the industry. Thank you, and please ask your question.
So then I'm going to pass it to Judge Frederica, please.
Hi, Dean and Nasri, thank you for your presentation. My question is, so you say that ozone has been approved worldwide since 2001, right? And yet at the same time, it isn't yet widely used, mostly, as you know, sort of due to difficulties in manufacturing, right? Could you speak to how exactly your sort of delivery mechanism is overcoming the challenges that others have faced? And then also how you might overcome specific challenges that you might expect in less developed countries?
Sorry, that was difficult to comprehend on my side. Could you repeat that, please?
The question is, how exactly does your dry wet delivery system overcome the challenges that others have faced since ozone has been approved since 2001, as you note, right? Yeah. And then also if you could speak to how you might overcome specific challenges that you might face with your solution and deploying your solution in less developed countries.
So I think 2 key points, absolutely. There's been a recognition of ozone as a sanitary application for quite some time. The difference in relation to what we are providing in this particular instance has everything to do with its precision, its ability to be positioned in places that generally would be considered remote and unobtainable. Further, the key point in relation to our technology with this particular solution, I stress this, is that the ozone can be created on site. As to date, that does not exist. And it's very challenging to have it applied on site, stored, and actually used. So our key objective in relation to the solution is bringing it to those that can have the highest degree of impact from a commercial deployment sense.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Nasri. And next up, we are going to be moving on to our next challenge, which is gender equality. And I would like to introduce the mentors for gender equality. We have Edna Chun, Faculty Human Capital Management, Chief Learning Officer for Higher Ed Talent at Columbia University SPS. And we have Lizette Soria, Policy Specialist for UN Women. And we thank them so much for helping to prepare the teams for today and for coaching them. And now I would like to pass it over to Lizette to introduce our third team today, which is Meraki. I apologize if I mispronounced that.
Hello, everyone. It's really nice to be here with you. So the next team would be Meraki, who was born in response to the gang rape that happened in New Delhi back in 2012. It was founded by Priyanka, who felt very disrupted for this event. Driven to help create safer spaces for women and girls, this initiative came into place. In the team, we will have also from Columbia University master's students, Christy Fall and Connor Mack, and also from Rutgers University students, Kushi Patel and Kimberly Sibila. So this, I hope you enjoy this initiative that is putting into action both innovation and women's safety. Thank you. Please go ahead, Priyanka.
Hi, everybody. If I can get the next slide, please. So great to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I am representing my team Meraki, and we're working to tackle sexual assault through smart jewelry and education, specifically on college campuses. I was on a college campus myself not too long ago when I began this project. And when I was there, I was learning about the very problem that we are trying to solve today, gender-based violence. I learned that 1 in 5 women are sexually assaulted while in college in the US, people just like me. I learned that 2 million are trafficked into prostitution, forced labor, and slavery in the global South. And almost 1 in 3 women globally over the age of 15 have been subjected to sexual violence in their lifetime. This is what we know, and there's so much that goes unreported. There's also not a lot of prevention, and this is where Meraki comes in. Next slide, please. We're trying to take a little bit of a holistic approach to this solution to gender-based violence. So we've come up with smart jewelry and education programs to do so. With regards to the smart jewelry, we're looking to create culturally appropriate smart jewelry that has GPS, audio recording, and alarm capabilities to help prevent and process sexual assault cases. So let's pretend that a woman is feeling unsafe, a potentially dangerous situation, and she's wearing a Meraki bracelet. She activates the bracelet and it sends her GPS location to pre-programmed contacts, trusted contacts, to let them know that she needs immediate assistance and to show them exactly where she is. At the same time, an audio recording will begin, as well as a high-pitched alarm to hopefully deter perpetrators away. We know, though, that the technology is not something that will solve the issue of gender-based violence systemically, which is why we truly believe in education from a young age all the way through college-age students on topics such as empowerment, respect, and self-awareness and consent to be able to move even further in this issue. We've actually had 2 of our team members conduct education programs to schools in New Jersey, and they've gone through some classes of high school seniors to teach them about self-awareness, safety, and consent to prepare them for the realities of what it's like on college campuses. Now, both the smart jewelry and education can contribute a lot of data that can feed into systemic change. So we can gather from the smart jewelry things like where people are feeling most unsafe, when, how often. And from the education, we can learn about what messages are really hitting home to people and the audiences that we're trying to gather from the surveys through our education programs, as well as education that we do on social media. And all of this data together can feed into public safety programs or even the private sector innovation to help accelerate innovation in safety even more. And the impact that we can have is not only preventing assaults in the moment and increasing protection for individuals, but we can increase safety systemically via this actionable data, increase accountability for crimes, and overall reduce crime and help to achieve SDGs 5, 11, and 16 for gender equality, safer, sustainable cities, and better peace and justice. Meraki is a social innovation business, and so we will be selling the bracelet, education programs, and data to people who can pay for it. And we've gotten a lot of responses from customer discovery, from people who have said that they would pay over $100 for something like this. And with the profits that we can receive from that, we'll be able to subsidize bracelets as well as education programs for low-income communities, even in the global South. Now, prototyping is an expensive task and an expensive journey. So we're really hoping for your support here for that, because any penny counts. And we also are aware of security and legal concerns and issues that we have recognized and are finding solutions for. While we are trying to tackle sexual assault on college campuses today, we see our solution as applicable to any sort of gender or non-gender-based violence and for any age. We hope that you'll continue with us to support us through this and make this happen and have a greater impact in gender-based violence. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priyanka. So now I would like to see if any of the judges have any questions that they would like to ask. Judge Ursula, do you have any questions for Priyanka?
Oh, just a quick one. Thanks so much. I just wondered, you mentioned prototyping. I wondered if you had any further information on likely cost to produce a prototype, or any other kind of information on the likely financials for this. Thank you.
Yes. So in terms of prototyping, we are currently working on our MVP. We're in the first stages, and we're doing what we can to use the least amount of money possible to create something that's viable. And that works, even though it's not the main design in our vision. But baby steps to it. What we've looked at is to be able to actually bring on the engineers that have the skills needed to develop this specific technology. We are looking at eventually about $100,000 to create the first couple of prototypes that are both visually appealing and functional. After that, we'll be looking into manufacturing and seeing how we can get the costs down that way.
Thank you, Ursula. Thank you, Priyanka. And now we're going to be moving on to the next team. So this next team, Safe Teal, is going to be introduced once again by Lizette.
Behind Safe Teal is a team of survivors and allies who each strive to transform the ecosystem of gender-based violence. They are bringing a very interesting and super needed perspective on intersectionality, accessibility, and an anti-racist space that centers survivors. The team is formed by Fatima Kamal, who is a global health professional and also graduated from the School of Public Health at Columbia University. Also, Sophie Capshaw-Mack, who is a graduated from Columbia University, and she founded the nonprofit Survivor's Best Friend that unites shelter pets with survivors of sexual violence and domestic violence. Also, Natasha Chakraborty is an immigration attorney at Advantage Pathways, who is also a board member at the Survivor's Best Friend. And finally, presenting for Safe Teal is Cheyenne Taylor Jacobs. Cheyenne is a Black writer and filmmaker who started the She Will Speak line thread on Instagram. Her widely acclaimed art and activism confront the issues of racism, sexual violence, and homelessness. So please, Cheyenne, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Cheyenne Tyler Jacobs, and one day someone asked me why I believe Black women in the US are still not getting the resources we need. And my answer was simply, well, since the transatlantic slave trade, when did we? I'm so excited to be able to introduce y'all to Safe Teal, which is my team's sustainable development solution for ending gender-based violence on a global platform. Safe Teal will be the world's first intersectional mobile and global application for both education, prevention, and response to be scaled globally. Our mission is to prevent and respond to gender-based violence across the world through a trauma-informed and culture-specific lens that explicitly is anti-racist and inclusive of all identities. While gender-based violence disproportionately harms women, children, and gender minorities, men and boys can also be victims as well. In fact, 1 in 7 men are likely to experience gender-based violence in their lifetime. SafeTeel is an app that is intended to be able to engage with everyone, whether that be in an educational space or whether it be in the advocacy and healing space. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres classified gender-based violence as a global emergency, with threats against women and girls escalating across the world in the midst of the COVID-19 and climate change. Now, some of y'all may not be aware of this, but the UN system already produces and maintains several mobile applications on topics ranging from sustainable agriculture, sanitation, even yoga, which I started 2 weeks ago. Despite the UN's expressed commitment to ending gender-based violence, there are no existing United Nations mobile apps dedicated to the global crisis of gender-based violence itself. But SafeTeel aims to change that. SafeTeel is twofold in our approach to ending gender-based violence. Not only do we offer interactive modules geared towards the prevention of gender-based violence, but SafeTeel also includes a database of carefully vetted resources that survivors can access through the app to gain support. Prevention modules include topics such as intersectionality and systems of oppression, sexual health, high-risk environments, as well as bystander intervention. Users as well can be able to complete these applications and have certifications. Additionally, SafeTeel incorporates a database of local, national, and international resources for survivors and allies to timely and securely access utilizing a geospatial technology. The platform allows survivors to connect directly with these resources to build a network of support for them to reach and begin to heal. Think your social media site minus all those troll accounts. The carefully screened community-based organizations as well are the government programs involved will include psychological, social, economic, and very important legal resources. SafeTeel even enables survivors to confidentially report incidents of gender-based violence to these vetted NGOs within the UN's Gender-Based Violence Information Management System, also known as the JBVIMS. SafeTeel is a secure, password-protected platform that also includes what is called a safe exit, represented by the X on the bottom right of the screen. We also will be having a page dedicated to erasing your search history, which can also be something a lot of survivors and folks want to keep in mind. Next slide, please. For the first 2 years of SafeTeel's development, including our early launch stages, fixed costs will be approximately 1.3 million, variable cost 250,000, and a periodic cost of 70,000, with a total cost estimated about 1.6 million. But from the cost benefit perspective, it compares to the global economic burden of the cost associated with gender-based violence, which is an estimated total of $1.5 trillion, making our app well worth the investment. Utilizing private foundation funding, we plan on hiring UN consultants to vet NGOs and CBOs registered within our app, as well as hiring translators and cultural experts to tailor SafeTeels to various regions across the globe. The value chain will significantly improve due to the enhanced accessibility of the platform. Transportation is a long-standing barrier for many survivors to report and access other resources to ensure that healing takes place and can be sustained over a period of time. The SafeTeel platform erases the need of transportation and is connecting the survivors to the resources virtually, privately, and securely. The impact of SafeTeel is far-reaching as it improves sustainable development goals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 10, and 16 by affording an opportunity for a greater quality of life to those suffering, including resources such as financial, food security, education, and justice, among others. It will also give access to institutions such as higher education facilities to utilize programming from grassroots, as well as individual facilitators such as the members of my SafeTeel team. Currently, no technology like SafeTeel exists on the market to confront gender-based violence at a global scale. While being innovative, we are also being culturally sensitive to ensure a decolonized approach that emphasizes the importance of grassroots movements and culturally based organizations, as I mentioned previously. SafeTeel is quite actionable within the UN setting, since several other global mobile applications developed by various UN entities already exist in the market. However, none of these entities seem to merge a narrative involving trauma-informed education at the general public level and survivors, especially within the margins. This app is something we feel in the next step to not only healing, but also true prevention while it comes to funding organizations, professionals.
Thank you, Cheyenne. So now I'm just gonna pass it over to the judges and see if they have any questions. Judge Rodrigo, do you have any questions for Cheyenne?
Yes, Paul, thank you. Hi, Cheyenne. Great presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
I have two questions. The first one is, in some developing countries, technology or even internet access can be expensive as a relative to medium income. So how do you plan to tackle this problem so SafeTeel would be available for everyone in the long term?
Thank you. Thank you very much for that question. And that's actually one that we looked at. So a lot of higher education institutions, for example, here in the US, as well as other organizations that have the budget to kind of pay and lease these educational developments, are going to be able to substitute that cost. So for an example, here it might look at different schools and redlining zones that may not be able to afford, like you said, even an iPad to have in class. But if we're able to kind of budget with higher educations and Ivy League schools or schools that have that budget, we can be able to kind of create not only the sustainable technology to give to these other organizations, communities, and other countries, but also give them the database to where it's not going to like have a harsh cost on them. If that is answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And your second question?
Oh, my second question was about your budget. I noticed that there's a significant decrease between the first and the second year. If you could please elaborate a little bit about that.
Yes, so by the second year, we were doing a cost analysis of what that would be like once we kind of bring on different institutions and organizations to also offer their funding and donations. So one thing, and my apologies for being stopping on the time, was that we do hope, like we are on this team as well, to, what's the word I'm looking for? Bring on volunteers, bring on other donations. But the first year was really just kind of like the setup cost as far as like having people vet the organizations, having people translate. So the first year is going to be the biggest cost because, you know, this right now is just a presentation and we really want it to be a prototype.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for your questions.
Thanks so much, Cheyenne. Thanks so much, Rodrigo. We are now going to be moving on. Next slide, please. I would like to welcome back Edna, or introduce Edna rather, as one of the mentors for the bulb. Edna, can you please speak about the team? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'm really excited to introduce the bulb team, and I've had the great pleasure of working with Lizette with all three gender equality teams who've done extraordinary work. The bulb team's goal is to shed light on complex global issues of gender equality with innovative solutions. The 4-member team is very international. It's comprised of Jingyu Zhang, who got her degree in applied analytics from Columbia's SPS, Joy Ding from Rollins College, and both of them are from China, Brielle Canavino, who is also from Rollins College in the United States, and Simon Urban, who is a graduate of Rollins College and Assad Business School in Germany. And you will hear from today from Jingyu Zhang and Brielle Canavino. And this team is extraordinarily diverse. They have different academic and cultural backgrounds, and they have developed a technology-driven plan to address gender-based violence in and during and beyond COVID-19. So I'd like to turn it over to Team Bulb.
Hello, everyone. We are the Bulb. I'm Jingyu.
And I'm Brielle.
And our two other teammates are Joy and Simon. We propose a virtual networking solution to fight violence against women during lockdown in the Global South. Our solution targets sustainable development goals dealing with gender equality, justice, good health, and partnerships between different sectors. Our solution contains 2 major networking platforms, group chats on popular communication apps, and a blog site. With information learned from the blog site, we can perform data analysis to identify common attitudes and beliefs about violence against women. Next slide, please. In our case, the communication app we'll use as a demonstration is WhatsApp. First of all, we want to group people together by their community. That can be their housing community, buildings, village, or any organization or associations that people are belonging to. Then a community leader is going to create a group chat on WhatsApp as a way to gather their community members together and engage bystander intervention. Functions of this group chat include educating group members on how to protect themselves, recognizing signs of violence, and knowing who they can go to in an emergency. The members will also get updates about local COVID cases and news to engage the community member and encourage more people to join. There will be at least 3 major contacts in the group chat as shown in the slide, including the community leader, of course, a counselor, and a volunteer from local non-governmental organization or NGO. The 3 major contacts are in the chat to make sure people, especially women, are getting the resources they need, and the communication in the group chat is going in a positive direction. The community leader is there to get everyone involved, and the NGO volunteer is going to share useful tips to encourage bystander actions. And the counselor is responsible for listening to survivors on a private communication channel, comforting them and providing them the information and resources they need for mental health support. In order to recruit members, the community leader is going to send the QR code of the group chat through both email and WhatsApp to their community members to advertise the existence of the group chat. In case people do not feel safe or unable to talk to any of the officers, we will also incorporate a silent help center for anonymous confidential text messages. These messages will go to a trained WhatsApp employee on duty. I will pass on to Brielle for the next slide.
Next, what we want to do is create a blog site to encourage women to share their stories. We believe that people will be inspired by and resonate with others' accounts. We not only want to empower the survivors, but also teach both men and women about forms and signs of violence. Each week, the NGO staff member is going to send a link from the blog site into the group chat in order to refer traffic to that blog site. The blog's also going to have 3 major sections: the blogs themselves, videos, and a topic of the week, in addition to a list of local resources depending on the community. Also, every member will have the option to post or make comments anonymously in case they are not comfortable publicly sharing their stories. In addition, the blog's going to have a point collection system where for every login, comment, or post, they get like certain points, and these points can be exchanged for ebooks or UN souvenirs. Finally, for people who have posted their stories of violence on the blog site, we want to make sure we can follow up with them in case they wish to report the crime. If so, we will work with the local authorities to inform them of these incidents so that they can collect data about the alleged perpetrators. With the existing local data and the ones we're collecting from the blog site, we're going to be able to analyze different variables between the alleged perpetrators, such as marital status, education level, the region it happened in. And in case an alleged perpetrator is actually convicted, we can then compare the behavioral similarities of these perpetrators through social media use in order to identify commonalities, and then these can be used for the development of future data-based countermeasures to gender-based violence. Primarily utilizing existing tech platforms, our proposal is also relatively low cost. Initial costs include training volunteers and the creation of a blog site with recurring costs of maintenance and data analysis. We anticipate funding from some nonprofit partners and possibly the UN as a revenue source, but we also believe we have the ability to work with private sector companies, especially ones that might have a vested interest in decreasing violence among their employees in these work from home times, or educational institutions that already wish to perform data analysis.
Overall, our proposal requires networking between local communities and different sectors to ensure every woman in the community is getting the support and resources they need. This networking is done mainly through online platforms because of the pandemic.
Thank you so much, Jingyu and Brielle, for your presentation. I'm now going to throw it over to Judge Frederica to see if she has a question for you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I have 2 questions for you. So one is, you sort of want to encourage participation on the blog, right? Through a point-based systems that can be traded for souvenirs, as you say. I think I also read mobile phones and some of the materials that you submitted, right? And so my first question is, like, how do you, like, are you concerned about spamming or fake posts, or how would you address that?
Yes, we did set up limits to how many points each person can get depending on that. So it's daily limits for logins or posts that actually earn points. And we also do have monitoring on these sites, where our main issue with this is that we want to make sure this is positive communications, that we aren't getting unnecessary negativity. So they are moderated and ensure that there is not only relevant content on these posts with survivors, but also that it remains a safe space for women and survivors to share their stories.
Thank you. And then if I may, a quick second question. You plan to collect data on perpetrators, right? It's sort of part of your to gain insights. Now, in your mind, what should this data be used for? What could it be used for? And then also importantly, what should it not be used for, right? And other potential sort of risks, potential harms, maybe to people who share some characteristics of perpetrators. but are not themselves perpetrators. That sort of might occur because of your approach.
Of course, we don't want to cause any stigmas. A large, like for a potential benefit we were saying is, for instance, if a lot of violence is happening in this particular region, then we can go talk with the local leaders and say, hey, we really need some targeted directives in this area where we've seen a high increase in violence, and being able to use that data to target solutions while not trying to scapegoat anyone at all.
Thank you so much, Frederica, for your questions. Thank you, Brielle, and thank you, Jingyu. So now we're moving into the third challenge topic, which is cybersecurity. And I have the pleasure of introducing to you our two mentors in this area. We have Sharyar Shagaki, a lecturer, chief technology officer, quantum exchange at Columbia University SPS. And we have Tima Soni, chief cybersecurity section, United Nations International Computing Center. And I would now like to pass it over to Sharyar to introduce the next team, which is World ID.
Hi there, thanks for the opportunity, and it was a privilege working with Chris, Sinclair, Vaishnavi, Yuan, and Sunny related to World ID, which is a collaboration leveraging some of the technologies, including the underlying blockchain infrastructure for the purpose of being able to establish a trusted network globally and collecting and sharing information as it relates to COVID-19 and related health-related information sharing. Obviously, as a result of this type of project, you need to consider various types of laws, including privacy laws that are shared across the globe, and of course, the evolving cybersecurity related threats. So I had the privilege to work with the team to help define the right architecture as it related to those two areas. So with that said, I'll pass it on to the team.
Hi everyone, this is World IDC. The wide application of information technology has greatly promoted economic and social development, but also brings new security risks and challenges. In the past 15 months, the world has induced an unprecedented degree of change. As disruption of global pandemic impacted everything from the highest level of federal government down to the way kindergartners learning. Cyber criminals seized upon the changing environment to institute the new business model they wanted. All kinds of attacks, except for the malware, have grown up and generated more than 2.5 trillion loss for society, especially ransomware. It has almost been doubled in both European and North America. The main malicious separation media includes scripts, exe, archive, Office, and PDF files. Next, please. World ID's platform can be effectively vehicle to create new value. One risk of UNICC is that those with comparable social strategic intent can undermine the ability to capture fair share of the value. By generating more visibility into human welfare options and facilitating the ability of participants with larger ecosystems to toggle and leverage shared intents, a UNICC platform can evolve socially intended work to scale effective social solutions within and across all 17 sustainable goals. On the World ID's platform, UNICC is able to reach sustainable goals by allowing systems to aggregate data and information, collaboration and coordination, codify and build a coalition to action, and lastly, continuously improve through transparent and trust. More specifically, World ID helps surely build those sustainable markets in multiple ways. It includes SaaS, low coding, DLT-based computation, blockchain execution, and principle-based security strategies. Next, please. The World ID platform supports a global digital technology infrastructure that helps to scale collaboration that enable optimal engagements, allowing UNICC to focus on definition of protocols and standards that deploy loosely coupled modular approaches to process the designs. Furthermore, platforms facilitates the building of network where sustainment partners can compare similar service along the multiple dimensions of the effectiveness. Social organizational networks can create economics of scale with sustainment markets generating the value capture and creation across the essential human welfare markets. These sustainment markets create maximum efficiency. They offer the best version of equilibrium between demand and supply. One benefit of being fair in both sides in sustainable market is that participants are more likely to trust throughout the transaction life cycle, not just like a necessary middleman in the business. In other words, increasing social capital and the recursibility of the global brand. The World IDs platform help us to make resources and the participants more accessible to each other. We leverage 2 continents to support enhanced secure computing practices. A government structure, including a set of protocols that determines who can participate, what role they might play, how they might interact, and how this dispute can be resolved. And another additional set of standards is designed to facilitate the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of connection, coordination, and collaboration. This is a proposal from World IT team. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much for that, Yu Yang. Now I would like to pass it to the judges for any questions. Judge Frederica, do you have any questions for Yu Yang and her team?
Sure, I'm happy to go again. Thank you very much for your presentation. Could you speak to financial plan? I know you included a little bit in sort of accompanying information. Based on that, my question is also, as you speak about your finances, could you also help me understand how you might develop your solution sort of based on pilots in order to sort of ramp up the capital need that you have?
Yeah, sure. Actually, we have 2 proposals. And the first, the financial budget plan is based on a very rough structure, very rough idea. So we are going to, because we are going to use the private ledger-based blockchain, like blockchain contract-based system to build a very secure base infrastructure system. So we are going to use SaaS as our key main tool to show the system to our customer. So hiring SaaS developers and borrow the hardware and build a server that's gonna cost our main parts. Like this will be the biggest size of our budget. So from our scratch proposal, we plan to hire several number of SaaS developers who are experts in software developing, and also we're gonna buy some hardware and build a survey by ourselves. Also, we need to calculate the annual electricity cost when we are running the system, and some maintenance infrastructure, which is just a very basic cost. So roughly, from this proposal, we roughly give more than 18,000, so that's 18 million budget per year for the operation. And another proposal is based on a cloud hosting service. So that is, we are using other cloud services platform where we also need to hire SaaS developers, but we are not going to build our server by ourselves. We just rent the cloud hosting services like AWS, those very big companies. So this is gonna reduce our cost, but also at the same time, we still need like computers, those hardware to operate the to write the codes and make the operation. So in this case, the total cost is going to be around 17 million per year. So this is our economic proposal. Thank you very much. Thanks for your question.
Thank you, Frederica. Thank you, Yu Yang. So we have, we're going to be moving on to our final team. And now I understand why it's so hard to find someone to replace Alex Trebek. But I would like to pass it back to Shahriyar to introduce Team 7, our final team, CV2. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. With CV2, actually, as I pointed out, it's a collaboration platform globally established using the infrastructure that exists within UN, but on top of that, obviously leveraging blockchain and incorporating all of the privacy and cybersecurity related requirements, given that the nature of information sharing platform across the globe and the type of data that may potentially cause some harm from a standpoint of health data related to security issues. So with that said, I'll pass it on to the team. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We're Team CV2. My name is Claire, and today I'll take us through our proposed solution to tackle one of the biggest challenges in the cybersecurity space, collecting and dispersing information in a timely and secure manner that is trusted by the public. Next slide, please. And at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, it was challenging for many health experts to share data and real-time updates on local regions with the public and international authorities. And subsequently, we saw a rise in misinformation about the pandemic, from the appropriate precautions, severity on the disease, to the vaccine efficacy. So to combat this problem, we proposed a solution where we built a secure and trusted communication platform that is powered by blockchain technology for the UN. Our solution supports the 4 UN Sustainable Development Goals, as we indicated below, and the platform will be used by the global experts to share, exchange information anonymously in real time. Next slide, please. And this is kind of a high-level overview of how the communication platform works. So the platform will support the communication between the global expert network, the UN, and the local government, where identity is managed by blockchain technology. So let's use COVID-19 as example. The UN will issue credentials to trusted field experts, healthcare professionals, who will be vetted and invited to join the network. And once they're part of the network, they can share information with the UN using an open, decentralized, secured messaging platform. This ensures 2 things. 1, the field experts can be anonymous and the data cannot be traced back to the particular individual. And second, no malicious actor can intercept and change the information as the data is encrypted in transit. Then the UN will have a central repository for all the incoming data, and we'll have a dedicated team for content monitoring to ensure that there's no regional and industry regulations are broken. The UN can also share these information with WHO to validate and confirm the accuracy of these information in the case of COVID-19. Finally, the UN could also leverage this platform to share recommendations and guidance with local governments for more coordinated global actions to prepare what's to come. And it will provide more trust in the information source because it is UN verified, therefore reduces misinformation. Next slide, please. So now that I've shared a high-level view of what the solution is, in the final slide, I want to share how we're going to implement it. First off, I think it's important to identify the goal and what success looks like. So we have identified a few key metrics to track. 1 is the countries that have verified experts that measures the breadth of our global coverage. 2nd is number of verified experts within each country that can measure the depth of our global coverage. And finally is the reduced time to action, which measures how much faster we're able to get insights on the ground and create action plans and communicate to the local governments. On the top, you will see the key milestones that we have identified for the project, from planning, development, and recruiting the experts to launching and the platform maintenance. And for such a global scale tech project, we want to also highlight 2 key risks that we have incorporated into our solutions. Operational risk, which includes such regulations that exist in certain countries for sharing information or exchange of certain data. And cybersecurity risks, which includes personal identifiable information must not be shared in the data coming in from the field experts. And finally, I want to ensure that success and drive faster time to market. We will also align with the UN and leverage their existing technology investments. For example, to enable secure messaging, we can align with UNICC and leverage the matrix.org or other existing open standard communication platforms. So in closing, our solution of building a secure communication platform could be the first step to prevent misinformation. And the UN can use this platform to connect the global health community and serve the global citizens through the new variants of COVID-19 and future pandemics. And citizens can stay informed and rely on the UN as the one trusted channel for information throughout the COVID-19 pandemic and any future global events. Thank you. And now I will invite my teammates for Q&A.
Thanks so much, Claire. I would like to pass it over to Judge Reda to see if he has any questions for you.
Yes, thank you. And first of all, thanks to all the presenters. My question, I actually have 2. So your initial sort of application of the solution seems to focus on sharing of global health expertise. So my first question is, why should the World Health Organization, the UN Agency for Health, work with you? And how would you work with the World Health Organization, with WHO? Second question, in a pandemic, the most relevant expertise might come from non-traditional experts, people who are not identified as such, especially at the local level, who may know things that no one else does that are particularly important. So how would your system, which requires validation of identified experts, recognize and include non-traditional, non-conventional experts?
Thank you. I can take the second one first, and Akshay and Rohit, if you want to address the first one. I think the second one is totally agreed. And so during our whole milestone, we have a particular phase for recruitment. And for that recruitment, I think this is, we're going to go with like 2 approaches, top down and bottoms up. So top down will be like, global marketing campaigns and showing that different countries that are part of the UN, that we're doing this, creating this global expert network. And bottoms up, we'll take nominations from local governments or agencies, just like you said, many kind of unconventional experts in the field that may not be, that we may not be able to tap into from just global campaigns that the UN might be driving. So I think for this network, we certainly want to have a group of experts from different levels and different fields and different expertise. And in this case, we use COVID-19 as example, so it will be health experts. But for in the future, maybe there will be, other disasters that we wanted to prevent, that we can also invite other area and other expertise to join the network as well.
Thanks. Yeah, and so it's a good question about how we collaborate. I think what we do is we have different roles. So the UNICC and the solution that we're providing is all about solving the problem of there are local on-the-ground experts that have not felt safe and have not been enabled to share information in its true form to enable decision-making through the UN and then coordinated with local organizations through the UN. And so the UNICC's role is to build that network and solve the problem of allowing trustable, verified information to come in to the UN system. The WHO would be a partner to actually take action on that data that's being collected, the data points collected, and then distribute that and inform their decision-making. So it'd be 2 separate roles. One is the cybersecurity solution to get the data and trust it, and then the WHO and other organizations to actually take action on that downstream.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reda, and thank you so much, Claire and Rohit. I'm now going to pass this back over to Nicole, who's going to discuss the next steps. Everyone did a great job. Thank you so much.
Yes, amazing work, everyone. Thank you so much. This concludes our final presentations. I really just want to thank all the participants, though. I mean, they've spent the summer working on these ideas, and in addition to coursework for many of them. So I'm very inspired by the creativity and the commitment in developing these solutions. So moving into the award ceremony, we are now going to excuse the judges. They will leave for 10 minutes to enter their final scores and go into the deliberation room. So judges and Paul and Diane, you are welcome to leave. And while they are doing that, we are going to hear from our counterparts at the UNICC to learn more about the incredible work they're doing. And first, I am honored to bring back Anusha Dandapani from the UNICC.
Thank you, Nicole. I would like to sort of spend a few minutes to talk about what UNICC is and what we do. It's my pleasure to introduce you to United Nations International Computing Center. So we are a trusted shared service partner. We serve and support everybody within the UN system, including the data and the digital business solutions that we offer. Our mission is to make sure that we are able to serve the United Nations community, providing agile, cost-effective, and also technology solutions. So for us, we are always looking out for highly motivated individuals with a desire to work in the international civil service. So if you're looking to come and engage and participate with us, we are welcome. UNICC would be very interested to talk to you. See, our value is that we want to serve all our UN colleagues and the partner agencies going the extra mile and making sure that we focus on excellence in everything that we do. And we want to share a little bit of an insight around the partners and the clients and the expertise that we serve. If you go to the next slide, please. We have about 70 clients in the partner organizations that we work with, and we as an agency, we exist for past 50 years. And our strategic locations are in 5 locations. And over the years, when we started as UNICC, our focus was to be back office or a data center, where providing internet access, providing infrastructure capabilities and network connectivity to across the board. Over time, we realized that we as a UNICC can not only provide infrastructure or managed services support, we ended up also being supportive of our digital transformations journey for UNICC across the board. So we have been focused on robotic process automation, data and analytics, cybersecurity, AI and machine learning based use cases that we've been supporting across the board within UN agencies. And we recently celebrated our 50th anniversary, and our goals for 2021 and beyond is to focus on UNICC's community cloud that we are building out, and on also the greater data strategy that being published by our Secretary General to focus on building the whole of the UN ecosystem and how we can unlock our data potential. Next slide, please. So we as UNICC, we are based in 5 strategic locations, which is Geneva, Valencia, Rome, Brindisi, and New York. So we are looking forward to share our sort of work that we do. If you go to the next slide. We are an agency who support multiple organizations within the UN system. Beyond UN, we also support agencies which are specialized agencies like the World Bank, IMF, IDER. These are organizations which are specialized agencies which support UN and the SDG goals. So if you reach out to us, you will be able to technically work with most of the organizations that are part of the UN system. Next slide, please. And if you move on to the next slide. And the next slide, please. Thank you.
So we at UNICC, our goals are to make sure the use cases and the services that we offer, be it technology-driven or digital solutions, are all aligned with the 17 SDG goals that are prescribed to us. And most of the work that we do aligns with the partnership for the goals. And if you see, we align with pretty much all of the 17 sustainable development goals. So the ideas and the solutions that were proposed today resonate very well with us, and we will be able to sort of collaborate with the teams who have come together to put together these ideas. So we are looking forward to talk to you more. Next slide, please. And further to the next slide. And how do we do it? So our thought process is that we want to bring together the thought leadership and the innovative ideas that can be implemented, and with the focus on economy of scale. We want to be the enabler across the board within the UN system, where we make sure that we are able to accelerate the rollout of these technology solutions and focus a little bit more on the delivery cost optimization, because we are a community-driven organization and a cost recovery service-based organization within the UN system. We want to make sure that we are able to serve equally and fairly across the board with our partner clients who we work with. And with a very big sort of focus and an agenda for us to protect the UN privileges and the immunities that we come along with, and also world-class data and security that we do provide to our UN partners to make sure that the data protection and data security is front and center of all the services that we offer. Next slide, please. And what makes us unique is that because we are a core shared service provider, our costs are very cost-effective services that we provide, and we align with the UN mandate. And this is something that is for everybody and everyone, is what we are focused on to serve. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share what we do as UNICC. Floor is yours, Kelly.
Thanks so much, Anusha. So this is such an exciting time for all of us at Columbia, SPS, and UNICC as we partner for the first time. And certainly we hope that this is not going to be the last. I just want to talk a little bit about exciting things happening in CDL while the judges are finishing up their deliberation. So I'm really happy to announce our dynamic and interactive homepage. You can use your QR scanner and visit our new homepage. I know that, you know, websites are usually very static and you have to go and dig for certain information, but our homepage is nothing like that. It's going to be a dynamic platform where you create your profile and it will push out all the great jobs that you know you're looking for, internship opportunities, great competitions like this one, and other experiential events that we created for you, and also recruitment events, employer information sessions, all great things. So you can receive notification once you go to our homepage and create your profile. Now, you really want to think about how the labor market is, you know, shifting all the time, especially in the time of COVID. We know that labor market is reacting to it. So if you really want to learn more about how the labor market here specifically in New York City or other states or other cities, you can go and search for that information. It's right on the homepage, so you don't have to look through it. Labor Market Insights will be a very helpful tool for you, as well as the chat with CDL function. Next slide, please. I'm also really happy to provide SPS Talent. This is where you're going to be able to see jobs, internships, networking opportunities, and also sign up for different events. You see the link right there. And if someone from CDL team can copy that and put it in the chat box, again, that would be really helpful. 1220 is the vendor that we use, and they are the go-to, probably the #1 job board platform for many IB schools such as Harvard Business School, the Tuck at Dartmouth, Dartmouth, London Business School, Wharton, Vanderbilt. So we're really excited that the number of people who are getting on SPS Talent, our current students and alumni, the numbers keep on growing, and we're excited to see that. And hopefully we'll be able to provide even better opportunities and resources through SPS Talent. Next slide, please. So as we are sort of wrapping up the event, there are great upcoming events that you want to check out. We have a virtual China Career Fair coming up on September 14, and we also have US Career Fair coming up also in September, on September 22nd. Now, the Greater Good Challenge, many of you know, it was launched last year with the BEVA Foundation and the Turkish Philanthropy Funds. And this is our second annual business pitch competition. It's a bit different in that, from Think-a-Thon that we are hosting today, because this opportunity is really for people who are serious about entrepreneurship and growing their startups. So if any of you who are interested in participating for Greater Good Challenge, feel free to log in to the link that Mariella is sharing. Similar to Think-a-Thon, all you need is one team member from Columbia SPS, and this link will provide you to find team members or create your own team, join different teams. So we're really excited to have that available for you. So we are moving on to the Think-a-Thon ceremony. I think we have the audience vote ready, correct? Nicole?
So the first step is the Audience Choice Award. This is who you all voted for the $1,000 prize.
Yay, congratulations.
Woo!
Congratulations to Team Bolt.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yay. Seeing you and Brielle, great job, yeah? Congratulations to the entire team.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tori and Simon.
Congratulations, Jingyu Zhang, Joy Ding, Simon Arbon, Brielle Canavino. Congratulations on winning the Audience Pick Award, yeah?
Congratulations, guys. Well done.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Bravo, team. It's an all-girl team presenting today. All right, we'll go without further ado. We go to the second place. Congratulations, Team Logistica. Emergency response. Good job. Yay. Congratulations, Ethan, Drew, Nancy, and Steve. Very, very well done.
Very well done.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. That's very exciting.
Yes. Congratulations to the mentor, Shaurya and Jay, who supported you guys, to you too. Great job, guys. Looking forward to talk more. Okay, without further ado, one more. The first place.
Right.
Yay, congratulations, AgriTech. Team AgriTech, Dean, Nasri, Helmut, and Chris. Very well done, yeah?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good news. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Months of hard work.
So the mentors, Jay and Shaurya, great job, guys. Your team have won both the challenge.
That's fantastic.
I'd like to say that everybody did a wonderful job. It was absolutely amazing. So full marks to everyone.
Yes,
Thank
congratulations to everyone. It was a very, I think it was a tough decision. And we're so grateful and proud to see these. If this concludes the event, so if any of our judges, mentors, UNICC collaborators or CDL team have final comments, please chime in.
Great job, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Judges, mentors, and all teams. You guys did great job. Thank you so much.
We appreciate all the hard work, and I just know that Shaurya is going to be a little bit insufferable for a while.
Thank you, Retta.
You guys owe me brisket.
Thank you, audience, and hopefully we'll see you again next year, right, Anusha?
Yes, hopefully, yes. Looking forward to the next Think-a-Thon next year, and we will have more challenges to solve for. We always are looking forward to problem solvers.
When there are problems, there are solutions. So this is fantastic. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, judges. Thanks, mentors.
Thanks, everyone. Congratulations to all the teams.